Welcome to the Bruins Benders Podcast, Season 2, Episode 29, Bruins Panthers Game 1 recap with Maddie and Smitty, brought to you on the Inside the Rink Podcast Network. InsideTheRink.com is your one-stop shop for all your NHL and ECHL news, insight, and analysis. Follow on Twitter at inside_the_rink and download the Inside the Rink app and subscribe to Inside the Rink's YouTube. Smitty will tell us about how you can sign up for ESPN Plus.
Yeah, you can watch the Bruins on ESPN Plus by signing up on the Inside the Rink website. Go to insidetherink.com/ESPN to sign up. I have ESPN Plus, and I love all the out-of-market NHL playoff hockey now, college sports, and much, much more. So sign up for ESPN Plus at insidetherink.com/ESPN.
And we are live on Inside the Rink YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook pages. It's the Game 1 recap, and the Bruins get a 3-1 win tonight over the Florida Panthers in Game 1 without Captain Patrice Bergeron, out with an illness. Came down to a game-time decision. He was not available, but the Bruins score first, get a goal from David Pastrnak on the power play on a great feed from Tyler Bertuzzi. First playoff point in his career for Bertuzzi. Panthers use the forechecking game to carry some of the play. Bruins get a gift goal by Marchand, leaks through Lyon. It was Marchand's 50th career playoff goal. Lyon redeems himself with some great saves later. 2 on Frederick, just point blank, robbed him both times. Dmitry Orlov with a terrible turnover right to Matthew Tkachuk for a goal to make it 2-1. Then the Bruins get a signature third period. Not much ice or room in front of Allmark. Good in their own zone, much better than the first two periods. DeBrusque gets a big goal to make it 3-1, a greasy goal. Bruins finish it out without Bergeron, who was out with an illness, and get the Game 1 win.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't their best game, especially early. I thought they were better as the game went on. As you said, the third period I thought was their best period of the game, and they really kind of shut it down and locked it down and got the win. But the guys that you wanted to score scored in this game. So that was nice to see. You know, you get a goal from Pastrnak, you get a goal from Marchand, who had been on the schneid a little bit lately, and JD with the nice greasy goal late. So, you know, some of your big guns score goals in this one. And the defense was really good. I mean, one egregious turnover, but other than that, you know, there really wasn't a ton of quality chances for Florida. I mean, they did have a turnover by McAvoy too, with I believe Montour had a point blank kind of slap shot chance. But it was a lot of traffic in front, a lot of bodies in front. So Olmark really had to work hard to see the puck and find the puck, and he did a really good job of that all night long.
Yeah, and I thought it was good of Allmark to be able to have that kind of an effort after having the illness, which has been running rampant through the team, a really strong stomach bug, and and to be able to come back, it looked like he was sort of grabbing at his knees a little bit here and there at stoppages, and looked like he was seeing some fatigue there, but he played really well, and the defense really kept everything to the outside, I thought, for quite a bit of the game. A lot of point shots, not a lot getting through, not a lot of real rebounds, and any rebounds that he did give up, the team was able to sweep away, so I thought it was a pretty good defensive effort by the Bruins. All right, 7 Chirps time, sponsored by Lops Brewing. Lops is a brewery and tasting room in downtown Woonsocket, Rhode Island, specializing in small batch ales and lagers. It's open 7 days a week. Use the coupon code SPORTS to get 10% off your online order. Go to lopsbrewing.com. Follow them at Lops Brewing for new beers and events. Chirp number 1, flu bug is ripping through the team. Could it create some issues with fatigue as the playoffs continue?
It's possible. It certainly is possible. I mean, I think they said Loco lost like 8 pounds or something like that when he had it. So, you know, it's good that the Bruins have depth. I think, you know, obviously you're hoping for a long playoff run, and the depth is going to be tested. You know, they seem to have enough for pretty much 5 solid lines, not 4 and 8D. So hopefully you don't need all those guys, but it's encouraging that if the flu gets the better of some people, that you do have guys that are able to step in and contribute.
Absolutely, and I think that the renewed depth that they have from the deadline deals is really going to benefit them. Tonight they looked really confident playing, and you can see, we talked about this last week's episode. is anybody really going to be missed terribly if they're lost? And here's a guy in Bergeron who we mentioned as one of the guys, and they get the win, and it really, I don't think there was any real times where you really missed Bergeron, all too much in there. I think that some of their issues, like you said, a turnover by the D, but for the most part, I thought they played a really good, strong defensive game. I thought all the centers played well. I thought Charlie Coyle played really well
Yeah, he
tonight.
was excellent tonight.
He was, and I think that certainly helps his defensive effort. No six defensive effort, and Zaka being a good 200-foot player. I think it nullifies that quite a bit when you lose a guy like Bergeron for that one game. All right, chip number 2. Did the Bruins mismanage the last game of the season? It seems to be kind of odd that they were playing pretty much a full lineup that last game.
Yeah, I think they were probably just worried about a little bit of rust. The guys are creatures of habit. They don't want to be off for too many days in a row. I think they had 3 days off after that last game. So if a bunch of those guys didn't play, they're off for maybe a week before you start the playoffs, and you probably don't want that. So I would say they didn't mismanage it, but you're not necessarily looking for a guy like Bergeron to play, whatever, a few shifts in the first period and then not play the rest of the game, and they get some kind of little minor tweak, and then now he's got the illness. I'm wondering if it's a combination of the two. If it was just the illness, I feel like maybe he would have played. Maybe they're being a little extra cautious with him, just because of the illness as well. So you're not sure exactly what all that entails, but I think overall they were pretty good with having those guys trying to stay sharp before the playoffs started.
There was a couple interesting things. One, he was in the building.
Yeah.
He was seen walking in the buildings, which means that he's well enough to go into the building. And secondly, playing in the Montreal game almost leads me to believe that this is it for him. Like this might have been his last chance to play in his hometown, in front of his family, and I think that could be a sign that he's really leaning toward being done.
Well, it could be that, or it could be also that he doesn't know what he's going to do, so they just wanted to give him that opportunity in case that he decides to retire. So,
Right.
If they win it, and obviously that's a big if, but if they do, I would not be surprised at all if he, Krejci, and possibly even a few other guys decide to hang it up Foligno and
Sure.
so. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, how that all shakes out down the line.
All right, chirp number 3. Will we see Matthew Grzelcyk in Game 2? Do you think?
I do not think so. I
You
think
don't, so?
no, I don't think so. I think the ferocity with which Florida forechecks and Grzelcyk being a little bit smaller. I mean, he may be able to go back and get some of those pucks a little quicker than some of those other guys. But I feel like you're not going to put him on a third pair with Clifton, because that pairing was just atrocious. They're just not big enough to handle the big bodies of Florida down low. So I feel like if anything, it would be maybe a guy like Cliffy coming out, and then Forbort and Grzelcyk maybe on the third pair. I think they like Forbort's blocking shots and penalty killing enough to want to keep him in. Plus, he's a bigger body. So if anything, I think it would be Clifton, but I don't really see Clifton coming out, because I thought Clifton was pretty good tonight.
I did too. I thought Clifton was pretty good. I thought Lindholm struggled tonight with puck possession and trying to clear the puck and try to advance the puck. That pairing we'll talk about in a bit of Lindholm and Carlo struggled some. Even McAvoy struggled at times with trying to get the puck out or trying to get a clean breakout. So that was a pretty good job by Florida forechecking. Luckily, as they've had all season, Florida has just a terrible time trying to finish. Other than Kachuk and Barkov, after that, there's
Verhaeghe has
yeah,
a bunch of
he
goals.
scored a bunch of goals too,
Yeah.
but they are toward the bottom of the league in finishing 5-on-5. So that's a good thing, because their forechecking was good, and at times they carried play. All right, chirp 4. The right guy scored for the Bees. Hopefully it bodes well for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they like we talked about a little bit before, but you get goals from Marchand, who was on the schneid a little bit. Pasternak scores. That's a guy that you need to depend on to score goals for you. No matter what time of year it is. And DeBrusk scores, and he's been quiet a little bit recently, so it was good to see those guys get off on the right foot. You get assists from Krejci gets a point, McAvoy gets a point. Bertuzzi obviously with a couple of points had a great night. Coyle with no points, but he was tremendous, especially in the third period, leading up to the goal where Hathaway, hits the glove and the puck goes in. That entire shift was just dominant. Like the Bruins were all over them late in the game and just wearing them down. It was a fantastic shift there. So yeah, you get goals from some of the guys you want to score. I thought Hall was pretty good, especially on the rush. Set up Freddie a few times. Freddie could have had a hat trick in this one if Lyon didn't make a few really good saves on him. So you're getting some good chances and good play from some of the guys that you're going to be depending on to go deep in the playoffs here.
Yeah, so I think overall, I thought the Bruins played a pretty good game, without Bergeron, and I think that they obviously played a really good third period, which they've done all year. That fourth line that you mentioned, that shift they had was reminiscent of like the Merlot line kind of third period. Put it on them. Really control the play, grind it out, cycle the puck, get shots on net. They don't end up scoring because of the disallowed goal, but boy, that was such a great shift and really one of those nails in the coffin shifts that a fourth line needs to have every once in a while, especially in the third period, to show their worth. And I thought that that fourth line is really going to be a difference maker. Three really good, heavier players. They play good defensively. They're not afraid to mix it up. They go to the net. I mean, I think that's a really good sort of game-changing fourth line as we go forward. Trip 5, a lot of extra stuff away from the puck. The hate is building. It's only game one. Do the referees need to watch that more? I'll tell you what, the officials scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
They really do, because that penalty on McAvoy was just egregiously bad. Like that, he brushed up against the guy. I mean, he crumbled like a house of cards. They lead the league, by the way, tied for the league in dives, Florida. So that was a clear crumble to the ground, trying to buy a call. They were waiting to call a penalty on the Bruins because the Panthers had a couple, and the Bruins scored on one. Mm-hmm. So as we've seen years and years and years, the referees were dying to call a penalty on the Bruins, and there you have it.
Well, they missed one on Marchand gets high sticked in the face right in front of the net in the first 2 minutes into the game.
Right.
He takes a high stick right in the face.
Right in the face.
And they show the camera angle from like the bottom low boards from the corner. And when they zoom out, you can see the referee's stripes looking right at it. Like, what are you watching? What game are you watching? You're like, oh, I'm not going to call it. It's too early in the game to call a penalty. He was clipped him right in the face. And they just, so they let some stuff go. I thought that Florida got away with a lot of little extra cross checks and shoves. Like there would be a play on the puck, like a hit, and the guys would come together, and then the Florida guy would give them like an extra shove or an extra, chop to the leg or whatever it is. And they seem to get away with a lot of that extra stuff. Should the referees be looking at that and policing it? No, it's the playoffs. The Bruins just need to do it back. They need to they need to toughen up. They need to be aware that stuff's going to happen in the playoffs. That's Florida's game plan, and they have to be ready for it. Be the aggressor. If you go into the corner and the play is on the puck and it's done, then you be the first one to deliver the cross check, and maybe you catch them on a retaliation. So if they're going to let all that stuff go, which they probably will, at least most of it, because it's the playoffs, McAvoy's penalty aside, you just have to be the aggressor, be the one that's going to initiate that stuff instead of taking it and then having to retaliate and maybe get a penalty from it.
Well, the book on the Bruins the last few years has been do just that. Hit them, be heavy on them, hit them after they won't retaliate because Cassidy wasn't a fan of retaliation. I think Montgomery is probably going to be a little more lenient on that. But
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that the officials don't call the retaliation. If you're gonna set the bar where it is. I mean, you're gonna allow a little cross check, a little, face wash, then allow the other face wash, and then be done with it. And
Yeah.
I thought Gudis, who's a known dirtbag.
Yeah, he is.
Gudis is, he took a guy down in front of the net. It might have been Bertuzzi, clear interference.
Oh
Like
yeah.
just
Yeah, it
dropped
was.
him.
It was
Like
Bertuzzi. Yeah.
it was just like, I mean, he will do that. He'll go in and he'll put a little extra stick, a little extra shove. He
Sure.
tends to get away with that stuff. Ekblad going in on the penalty. He trips, Pasternak and then drives his head into the boards
Yeah.
because he takes a little bit of a liberty after that.
Yeah.
But that's what the Panthers are going to probably look. They're not as good as the Bruins, and they need to find an edge in some way. And if someone gets dinged up because we took an extra shove, then so be it. We'll live with that, and that's probably what they're going to try to do, especially with some of the older guys on the team. So I worry about Bergeron or Pasternak or these guys, taking like Pasternak took a couple shots tonight.
Yeah, he did.
That was, but to his credit, and I don't think he gets enough credit for it. Pasternak is able to play through the physical stuff now. Maybe not in the early on in his career, but he is now. All right, Chirp 6. The good news is the Bruins can play better. Will the Panthers have enough at the end of the day, you think?
I don't think so. I thought the Panthers played a really, really good road game, especially early on, and they had nothing to show for it. The only goal they scored was an absolute gift. Maybe some of that traffic in front and they bang in rebounds, maybe that's how they can score goals. I don't know if they can play much better than they played. They did give up a few 2-on-1s, but Lyon made some unbelievable saves. Like this game easily could have been like 6-2. Easily. Yeah. So I'm not sure they can play much better than that. And the Bruins certainly can. I thought their first period wasn't great. And their second period was average, and the third period was pretty good. So the Bruins can certainly play better. The Panthers, I don't know where else they can go. I'm not sure what else they can do besides what they did in the first to win this series.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, they don't have the depth that the Bruins have. Obviously, they don't have the scoring up, all four lines and the threats that they can be. I don't think. I mean, Stahl and Reinhart, pretty good in that third line. They're missing Sam Bennett, who had 16 goals. That's probably a tough loss for them. But that fourth line of Smith and Cousins and White doesn't do a hell of a lot, and they don't play a lot. And that's a line right there that just they can't match up with anybody the Bruins have. And the Bruins have better defense. So I think that, and the goaltending obviously is much better. And you can't have your goaltender giving up leaky goals to the record-breaking team in the history of the NHL.
No.
You just and expect to win. So they're gonna have to figure that thing out too. I just think there's too much there for the Panthers to overcome. I said they'd win in 5. I'm gonna stick with that because I think they might steal one in Florida. But I still think it's gonna be a Bruins in 5, and I don't think the Panthers. I'm just not gonna have enough to beat the Bruins. So your prediction for Game 2?
I think the Bruins win Game 2 by a similar score. I'll say 4-2.
Okay, I like the Bruins. I'm gonna say a 5-3 win. I think it'll be a little bit more open. I think Florida will try to play a little bit more of an open style, which will give the Bruins a little bit more chances. I think the Bruins will watch some film and see some ways to break out. If you can get past the forechecking, you can get some odd man rushes the other way on Florida.
Yeah, I mean, they
have
had
to
some.
bury them.
Yeah.
And they had some tonight. You just have to bury them. I think the Bruins will bury a couple more in Game 2 and take Game 2 as well. All right, DraftKings Sportsbook, Boston's hometown sportsbook, is live right here in Massachusetts. Bet local on all your favorite sports from the comfort of your own home with DraftKings. To celebrate, all new customers will receive up to $200 in bonus bets when you sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook using code ITR. You can now bet local on money lines, spreads, props, and more with one of America's top-rated sportsbooks, DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with the code ITR to get up to $200 in bonus bets to use now that mobile sports betting is live in Massachusetts. That's code ITR only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
If you or a loved one is experiencing problems with gambling, call 800-327-5050 or visit helplinema.org to speak with a trained specialist, free and confidentially, 24/7. 21 plus, physically present in Mass. Eligibility restrictions apply, subject to regulatory licensing requirements. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as free bets. Terms at DraftKings.com/MA.
All right, beauties and benders for this game one, and the beauties. Beauty number 3, Bruins goaltender Linus Ullmark.
They're going to be loving you from dawn until dusk.
I thought Ullmark was very good. He had 31 saves on 32 shots. Let up the goal to Tkachuk. Not much you can do there after the turnover. But I thought coming through the illness and he really showed a lot. That's his first career playoff win, so there was some unknown there. He was 0-2 last year in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of a question mark, but he's a different goaltender, obviously, this year. So
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely,
He was terrific. And, especially early on when they had a lot of traffic in front, finding the puck and seeing the puck.
All right, beauty 2, Charlie Coyle.
Gonna love you, eh? They're gonna be loving you from dawn until dusk.
Weymouth's own Charlie Coyle was terrific tonight. His puck possession game, he just was really, really good. Played physically as well. He's a big kid. He always has been. He used his body well. Provided some chances. Got some really good puck possession. I thought he was one of the better players on the ice.
He absolutely was. He was definitely one of the stars of the game for the Bruins. Dynamic with the puck and really played a solid 200-foot game.
Sure did. And then beauty number 1, Tyler Bertuzzi.
Gonna love you, eh? They're gonna be loving you from dawn until dusk.
I am on the bandwagon of signed Bertuzzi after just a terrific game tonight. His first career point and his first career playoff game after 300 plus regular season games. So Bertuzzi got rewarded tonight and was just that pass to Pasternak was fantastic. He also set up Orlov. Was it Orlov in front? Yes, it was Orlov in front from behind the net early on in the game.
Yep.
With another beauty of a pass. Like, he has a tremendous vision. And he also can mix it up. He's got a little bit of, dirtbag in him too. Like, he'll go after you.
Yeah.
He'll mix it up. He's not afraid. He's just a really good, well-rounded hockey player.
Yeah, he's a great ad for the Bruins. A really, really good acquisition at the deadline. I think he fits what they want to do perfectly. I think he's a playoff type guy. Enjoys to mix it up in the physicality, and I'm 100% on board. You need to sign him at all costs, whatever it takes in the offseason to keep this guy on the Bruins, because he certainly has a chemistry with Pasternak, and they seem to have found a nice relationship there, and so it would be nice to see that continue for many years after this one.
Absolutely, and hopefully they do find a way to sign him, because I think he'd be a great part of the new nucleus going forward.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to do benders now, and coming in at bender number 3, Aaron Ekblad.
I'm a bender.
And just kind of like we talked about Timo Meier the other day, just like a douchey hit. Right. He takes a penalty on Pasternak. They go into the corner, and Pasternak's falling down, and he just kind of rides his head into the boards for no reason at all, other than to be a prick. I mean, it was like, oh, maybe I can concuss him here, and knock him out of the game, and we'll gain an advantage. So it was a dog shit hit by an asshole player on the Panthers, who now is one of my enemies.
Yeah, enemies. You know what? You're right, and it was just like Meyer. It was the same kind of thing, like over to the boards, and he almost had this feeling, like this arrogance, like they're not going to call another one on me, so I'm just going to shove his head through the boards.
Yeah, sure.
That's just settle down. I didn't love it either.
Yeah. Bender number 2, the Lindholm-Carlo pairing.
Ooh, at one point, the shots were 14-2 in favor of Florida
when they were on the ice. So I think what they were doing was they were deploying that pairing against the Tkachuk line, and that didn't work out. No. Like that, those two guys, for whatever reason, can't handle that line. No. So I don't know if the Bruins make an adjustment for game 2 and they send out the McAvoy pairing maybe against those guys, or they switch partners, and maybe it's Carlo and Orlov or whatever they do. I don't know what they'll do there, but there may be an adjustment for game 2 because that pairing especially didn't have a good night, especially early on. I thought Lindholm looked a little jumpy, was making some turnovers with the puck. He wasn't clean out of his own end. Even in the neutral zone, his passes were a little bit off. So, I mean, maybe he's one of the guys who's battling the flu a little bit. I don't know. They were kind of under wraps about who the other guys were that were dealing with it. Right. And maybe he's one of them. But they struggled a little bit, but they did get better, I thought, as the game went on. So hopefully they can clean things up for game 2.
Yeah, I'd be okay with maybe. I mean, you don't want to look. You won the game, and you don't want to start this knee-jerk reaction where you're changing things every second.
No,
but I wouldn't mind. I mean, if they have to, they can go. That's the beauty of it. If they have to, they can go Orlov, Carlo, and figure that thing out. Like if they have to.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of having 2 really good left side wing defensemen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then Bender number 1, who's always going to be on the list, is Radko Gudas.
Bender.
He's just not very good. He's not very good, but he's physical, and he'll beat you up, and he'll do all the dirty tricks and all that stuff. But I don't have much respect for him as a hockey player because I don't think he's very good at anything other than beating you up in your own end.
Yeah, I think he was good at one point in his career, but now I think he's on the backside. I think Gudas on the backside. I think Stahl's on the backside. I mean, they got a bunch of guys that are kind of like hanging on toward the end here, and that's why I say Bruins have a decided advantage, defensive pairings, decided. And decided advantage. They had their 4th line played 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes. Like they didn't play. And Cousins played 6 minutes. Or Smith played Giovanni. What's his face? Played
Giovanni
6
Smith.
Minutes. Giovanni Smith played 6 minutes. Cousins played 8. I mean, it's just they just didn't have. They just don't have much as much depth as the Bruins have, for sure.
That's it. That's all.
And that's all we have. We could list off all these Benders from.
You could throw Kachuk in there, and I mean, wow.
Yeah, I almost wanted you to do Gudas again.
We can.
That's a Bender. All right, next game for this series is Wednesday night, April the 19th. Game 2 against the Florida Panthers at 7:30 p.m. We will be on again live after the game for the wrap-up. Checking on the scores tonight, the Oilers lead the Kings after 2-0. I did see that Draisaitl scored the first goal for the Oilers. Stars lead the Wild 2-1. In that one, earlier on, it was the Hurricanes over the Islanders 2-1. So they take a 1-0 lead in that series. Go to InsideTheRink.com for Bruins Benders merchandise. Follow us at Bruins Benders on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Download the Inside the Rink app. And subscribe to the Inside the Rink YouTube page. Please rate and review our podcast on Apple and other podcast platforms. Until next time, we'll be back for Game 2 on the recap. Thanks a lot for watching and listening, and we'll see you after Game 2. Go Bruins.
Thanks a lot. Go Bruins.